Hi, welcome to another episode of Partners in Progress. I'm Joe,
And I'm Liz.
and for those of you that don't know, maybe you're just joining us for the first time. We're a married couple, but we have four kids, and we are also entrepreneurs. We're both coaches, and we really believe in iron sharpens iron. I'm more of a real estate leadership coach, and Liz helps moms who have kids who have gone through either are going through or have gone through cancer or specifically leukemia because we had a son that went through that. So that's what she does to help.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, we believe in iron sharpens iron, and we have had some really interesting conversations when we are really bouncing off of each other. So uh, topic that we were going to talk about tonight because last week we talked about persistence,
Mm-hmm.
and that's obviously really important to any kind of success, whether it's financial or health or relationships or business or whatever. The persistence is important, but I think the consistency is important too, which that would kind of almost seem like the same thing, right?
Almost, yeah.
But there's different elements to it. So I wanted to start this off by asking you a question. So there's a definition. I actually looked it up, and so many people think that Albert Einstein said it, but apparently I couldn't find the actual person that quoted or that came up with a quote.
Oh, okay.
I can't find the actual person that started it, so I guess it just came out of thin air. Apparently, it wasn't actually Albert Einstein that said it, but anyway, it's the definition of insanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? So that's the definition of insanity. But I was thinking, what does consistency mean?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that consistency means?
Doing something over and over again and expecting a different result to result at some point, or just to do a task multiple times at this, like do it at the same time every day
Right, okay.
and make sure you're doing it well consistently.
Right. Well, I guess it just depends. I guess it depends on whether on the it depends on what the task is, right? Whether it's every day, whether it's
Well,
every
like
week
working out,
or
consistently working out. You want to
right,
start at the same time every day, do it for the same amount of time every day,
right.
and then, you know, you do it the next day again.
And you're already touching on something that's important with consistency because it's not the consistency is important because small wins or small things, small tasks will lead to big results, right? Small wins will lead to big results. And when you do something, when you're consistent, when you're, like you said, when you do something at the same time, let's just use a workout for example. When you do something same time, same every day for the same amount of time, then what you're doing is you're basically creating a habit, but you have to have that consistency for it to be able to start to stick. And more importantly, not only are you building a habit, you're actually building character and you're building integrity because when you when you don't complete that task, when you decide you're going to do something and you don't follow through on it, then you basically have lied to yourself.
Yeah.
You basically have kind of you've told your subconscious that you're not a person that keeps their word. And next time you only do 20 minutes working out, and then the next time you only do 10, and then maybe the day after that you won't do any, right? So it's this process of staying consistent. But back to the definition. So what would you say? So if insanity and consistency are have very similar or maybe exactly the same definition depending on who you ask, what would you say is what would you say the difference is?
Well, I would say that it's your mindset, how you're looking at the situation.
Okay.
Um, because you could be doing, I don't know, the same thing over and over again and really not seeing any results.
Right.
But in your mind, it's not the results that you're looking for. Because if you do something over and over again, something will change. Either you'll change or the situation will change. Like with
Okay.
teaching our daughter how to read,
Right.
I felt like she wasn't learning anything. Like I
Hmm.
worked with her every single day consistently, and it did
Right.
feel a little bit like insanity because she was just like, "Yeah, I don't know what that word is. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know
Right.
how to read the word cat, even though we read it a million times."
Right.
But then eventually it clicks, and then she can read the word cat without sounding it out. But you have
Okay.
to do something a little insane before it actually starts working.
So was there when it finally clicked? Could you tell me when it did finally click? Was there something different that happened? Was there an a did you explain it differently? Did she look at it differently? Was there a subtle difference in the way you helped her sound out the word? Was there anything that you can possibly think of that was just slightly different?
No.
No.
Not on my end. Like I was
Okay.
doing exactly the same thing that I did with her every single day.
All right.
I think something shifted in her,
Okay.
but I wouldn't know exactly how that felt for her.
Sure. Right.
All I know is that now she can read the word cat without sounding it out. And I,
But you said that it's your mindset. You said it's the way that you perceive it, right?
mhm.
So in that particular situation, did did you start to change the way you perceive the situation?
When it happened or before?
Well, either right before or as it was happening, whichever. Can you
I
think of a
really can't
situation
remember.
where maybe something shifted?
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Well, what I would say the difference between and it's funny because I started comparing these the last I wanted to talk about this today and I started to compare the two and I thought, man, there is a lot of similarities between insanity and consistency, right? But
Yeah.
I realized that I believe that there's one key with kind of some there's so many things that go into it. Obviously we could go on for hours, but I think there's really one key
Mhm.
difference between insanity and consistency.
Okay, and what's that?
Intention. I think being intentional changes it from insanity to consistency. And let me explain. Because there's kind of three different keys underneath intention and how you stay consistent. So when you think of being well, let's go back to the workout, okay? Which one, the workout, you want to do the workout or you want to do teaching our daughter how to read? Which one?
It doesn't
Just pick
matter
one.
to me. Working out.
Okay, so let's go back to the workout. So when you decide that you're going to work out, right? Because you have to decide first,
Mhm.
right? When you first decide that you're going to work out, you are going to have a goal of some sort, right?
Yeah.
You want to lose weight, or you want to have more energy, or you want to um, be more fit. Maybe you want to gain some muscle, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
So that's really the first key. You have a goal in mind, right?
Yeah.
You don't make goals without intention. Just the fact that you're making a goal, just the fact that you have a desired outcome means that you're being intentional about it, right? Insanity is just being stuck in a cycle,
In a
being
loop.
stuck in a loop. Does that make
But
sense?
I mean,
Yeah.
consistency and insanity look the same on the outside.
Sometimes on the outside.
Like, cause like what they say, you can't see, nobody can see your vision. It's like putting
Right.
my glasses on and you can't see what I'm seeing.
That's true.
So you're thinking, wow, this person's insane
Insane.
for, like people that do triathlons and marathons and all of that. It's like these
Right.
people are insane. Why are they running? Who runs for fun? Like who does that? I don't know,
Right.
but I'm not looking through their glasses. So they're
Right.
running.
You haven't had that journey up to that
That's what
point.
that's what they do consistently. They run for miles at
Right.
a time. And
True.
it's like, why? In my opinion.
Sure.
Right. But in theirs, they're like, I need to do this so that I can finish the race or so I can win.
Yeah.
So they have intention backing their insanity. And they are insane. Just like I'm insane for, doing the same word over and over again every
So
day.
would you say
Or
consistency is intention, or consistency is intention backed insanity?
yes, I would.
Well, I mean, maybe there's something to
What's
that.
wrong with being insane? Like who made that a bad thing? I'm
Right.
just saying.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, some people believe that business owners are insane
Yeah,
or
most people
homeowners
do.
are insane.
Most people that are not entrepreneurs think entrepreneurs are nuts.
Yeah.
Or insane.
Well, and sometimes they are. Like,
well, I mean,
they have intention.
Yeah, and obviously the world.
We should
as
can
we
that phrase.
What is that?
Insanity is just
Consistency is just
insanity.
Intention backed insanity.
Yeah, we'll figure it out
We'll-
how to say that.
We'll come up with that phrase.
Yeah.
Nobody steal that before we coin it.
So
Yeah, I like that though. It's kind of true.
It can be both things.
Yeah, it can be both, right? It could be two things. I like that. I hadn't actually thought. See, that's what I'm talking about. Iron sharpens iron, right? I hadn't thought down that avenue. So if you take insanity and you put a goal to it, then what happens is you get clarity at that point, right? And instead of being caught up in the chaos, you at least have a direction.
Right. So now it doesn't look as crazy.
But the thing is, like there are certain things that could be what?
I got the phrase.
Okay, go ahead.
No, we'll say it. We'll just post it somewhere. I should
Go
probably
ahead.
say it. Consistency is insanity focused.
There we
or
go.
Focused
insanity.
Yes.
Where focus goes, energy flows, right?
Where focus goes, insanity flows.
Insanity flows. So consistency is just focused insanity.
Yes.
Go. Well,
it's developing.
I could totally see that as a like on a shirt, right? But yeah, you're right. It is kind of very similar because you're doing that same thing over and over and over and over again. And I like what you're saying too about seeing it from the outside, because sometimes you can see someone else do something that's like, what is happening? Like I said, with the runners.
Yeah.
And with entrepreneurs, like without entrepreneurs, our society would not exist. Like it just wouldn't. They're entrepreneurs are the pillars that everything sits on.
Right, but we're
but the people that are but the people that are not in that world are like, why would you do that to yourself?
Well, they went to 12 years of conditioning.
What?
They went to 12 years of conditioning.
What? Oh, in
school? Yeah, get a job, get a good job.
Yeah, traditional education definitely does not teach you how to be an entrepreneur.
It would be an interesting study to see how many homeschoolers are entrepreneurs. I'm pretty sure it's high.
Probably. You and I were both homeschooled, and look at us. We're both entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
so I guess it's just is what it is. Yeah. Well, and then my dad and your dad are both
My dad wasn't homeschooled, though, and neither was your dad.
Well, I know. Yeah, I know. I guess that's true. But all I'm saying is that it was something that we kind of took from them, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Your upbringing can have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So, focused, Focused insanity. I like that. So there is a difference, though. There is a little bit of a difference, at least, because you can see people that clearly they're doing something over and
But
over
wouldn't we
again that's
call them
having no,
dedicated, not consistent?
but that is having no results, or is having, or is they're like they're doing, let's say for they're working out, for instance, right? And so they're working out every day,
Mm-hmm.
but then they're stuffing their face with
Junk
unhealthy
food.
food, right? I was going to
Yeah.
say a brand name, but unhealthy food. They're on the other side. And so they're doing both at the same time. They're doing this thing over and over, and they're expecting to lose weight because they keep working out, but they're working against themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's why I think a lot of people quit at something that they are consistent
Yeah,
at for a while,
of
because
course.
there's just one little element that needs to be tweaked.
Yeah. Well, and there's always a tipping point. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the point. That's the thing. It's like one of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite quotes of all time, I would say, is by Thomas Edison. And he said, "Many of life's failures are people who didn't know how close they were to success when they quit."
I think I have a hard time with that one, because then I think, well, I mean, at what point do you just say forget it?
And that's
And
where
then you
and that's
can't,
where you
because
start
it's like I'm probably almost there,
and
and
that's where
you
you
just
start to
gotta keep
blur the
going.
lines between insanity and consistency. That's
Yeah.
where the lines start to kind of blur, and it's like, am I insane? I've been doing this, but we've done that with all three of our businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? We start, especially when it comes to marketing. Like, I mean, we have to change our approach. In marketing, you constantly have to
Well,
change our approach,
yeah.
but there's certain things that you have to do over and over. You have to consistently reach out to people. You have to consistently go visit people. You have to consistently, whatever, and
Create
you're doing,
relationships.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
creating the relationships. And here's the thing, and that's one of the interesting things about marketing. I guess we're talking about marketing now, but the interesting things about marketing is that with consistency
Mm-hmm.
is that you have to do something consistently over and over and over. You have to, like, I send emails
Whatever it
I send
is,
emails
yeah.
out every single week. Well, actually multiples a week, but I'll send out what I call my Monday morning motivator every single week. Every single Monday without fail. I've been doing that for over a year now. And there are some people that open the emails that never reach out. But there are, every once in a while, there's someone that opens an email that 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 reaches out, or I reach out to them on a text or something, and they go, "Oh, you're the guy that's been sending me all those emails. Let's set up a conversation. Let's set something up."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the cool thing about consistency, is just especially when it comes to marketing, is you're in front of them over and over and over. The most marketers would call it Tom, just top of mind,
Oh yeah.
top of mind awareness. So you want to be at the top of their mind. You want to be there all the time. Now, not like in their face, but you want to be in their inbox,
Right.
at least bare minimum once a week, and I'm in there more than once a week, but I'm just saying that's one of the ones I do consistently. Um, but then what happens is, because of that consistency, it creates it's a catalyst. It starts a catalyst, which then starts the next phase of the relationship, and then that's when you can really enter into an actual relationship. I mean, it's been a relationship before, but you get what I'm saying, into a deeper relationship where we're at a point where it's like, okay, how can I help you? And so it it changes to a different,
Yeah.
totally different dynamic, a totally different relationship. But you have to have the consistency for that to ever be able to happen,
It's true.
right? So you have to have a goal in mind. Like I said, I think that's one of the biggest differences between true insanity and consistency, is that you have something in mind. You clarified your goal. Last week we talked about your compelling future.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to have that compelling future, so So you build a compelling future, you stay persistent, and then you have to stay consistent on top of that. You have to do these things over and over and over and over and over and over and over. You get to that point where you feel like you're insane. But the other thing is that sometimes you have to get to that point where you've built a habit enough to where you have cultivated something that's now useful to someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially in coaching, we we model these practices, the practices that we teach people. Like we drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's not like
We're not telling
we're
you, hey,
telling
don't
you
smoke, and
I'm
we're
gonna
over there
yeah,
smoking.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always model my own practices before I tell someone else what to do. Because first of all, I want to make sure they actually work. Second of all, I want to be congruent. I want to make sure that I'm teaching people things that actually work, and I'm not just throwing stuff out there, to feel good or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to have clarity. You have to have that compelling future, and then after you have created that goal, and this is actually probably 90% of our work as coaches, is after you create that goal, then you have to create a plan
Mm-hmm.
on how to actually get to that goal, right?
Yep.
You've got the goal out here. This is where you're at. One of our coaches, Dean, does this exercise. He says, "Here's where you're at. Where do you want to be? How do you get there? And then how do you attach your heart to it? How do you attach your emotions to it? Because the emotions are the power, the engine that will actually get you there. But you have to have a plan. So you have that goal, then you create that plan,
which is your bridge.
Which is your step by step. I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And one of the easiest and most effective ways to do that is to work your way backwards. So, okay, this is what it's going to look like in whatever your goal is. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's, you know, a month, whatever it is. And then you work your way back. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. This is where I'm at. Now, if I was there, this is the step I would have to do before it. And this is the step I would have to do before that. This is the step I would have to do before that. And I would caution anyone listening to this. Yes, it is like work. And yes, you do have to take that time. But I don't want to discourage, because it's work that's worth doing. Because when you get that real clarity, when you finally go, oh my God, I can see the steps. I can see how to get there. Everything changes, and then you get excited, and then you want to be consistent. Then you want to start creating those steps and creating those habits. We've been kind of compounding the last couple of weeks, because we've been talking about patterns and habits and persistence and compelling future. They all work together. You have to have those to get to where you actually want to go. And so, I create a plan for real estate professionals on, okay, where are you at? Where do you want to be? Now, how do we get there? Let's find your motivating factor. Or your driving force. Let's find your why. Let's find your I start with where are you at, the wheel of life, and then we work into what is your compelling future? What is your why? What is that thing that's really driving you to actually want to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And then we put it into action. We do the letter from the future, where you write to yourself saying, this is what's happened. I don't know if you can hear that on the on the mic, but it's thundering outside. But and then you work that backwards. You turn that into a plan. With the moms that you work with, it's like, where do you want to be in a year? What do you want that to look like? And if you're going to be totally healthy, totally, confident, or whatever it looks like to each mom, right? What steps are you going to have to take to actually get there, right? What things you're going to have to put in place?
I think with the moms, it's not so much as looking forward and seeing like how to reverse engineer it. It's more like how do I move forward with where I am right now?
Yeah.
Because um sometimes it's hard to think about the future, especially with what you're looking at. Like your future, I mean nobody's is set in stone, right? But at least it's not like
But can you?
blaring in your face.
Sure. But even, and I get that. I totally
Because
understand that.
I still struggle with um looking to the future. So I focus on find things to enjoy now
Okay.
in the moment.
Yeah. Well, and obviously the present is all we've got to work with, right?
I do think that would be a powerful tool to use. Um, so
Well, let me ask you. It doesn't have to be 10 years in the future. It doesn't have to be a year in the future.
uh,
It doesn't have to be a month in the future. It could be a week.
yeah, it's
What are
true.
you going to do? It
Where
could
do you
be
want to be in a
10
week?
minutes from now.
Yeah,
What do you It could literally be 10 minutes. Let's use that, okay? You say, "Oh, well, I want to stay in the present." And obviously, that's all we can do. We can only work in the present, right? But what if you just and this is you're a mom and you know how to work with moms. You could adapt this to however you thought it would be the most useful. But if you said, all right, let's say one of your moms is having a hard time, and you just say, look, we're just going to look 30 minutes in the future. Okay. How do you want to feel
in 30
in
minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah, I think.
Right?
Yeah, I think I would be. I,
Do you think, go ahead.
in the beginning, I think that would have been a lot um more doable than like a year from now, because it's
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to look at a year from now because I don't want.
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. So sometimes we have to take it into small chunks.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to take, like, how do I want to feel in 30 minutes? How do I want to feel in an hour? How do I want to feel tomorrow?
Yeah, in a good way. The way we did it, I think, with Kalen was, how do I want him to feel? You know, and if he feels this way, how is that going to make me feel?
Okay.
So I don't know. That was just
But we
because,
can only control the way that we feel, right?
right. But I mean, you you can control a little bit how they're feeling physically.
Sure. And
Like,
you can control the way they're feeling by the way that you show up.
right. So do I want him to be scared? Do I want him to be worried? Do I want him to be mad? Or do I want him to be happy
Sure.
and joyful and excited about the
Yeah.
future?
And if that's a powerful motivator for you,
Hmm.
then you can use that as leverage to use it on yourself.
Yeah.
So because I'm the only person I can change. I can motivate you. I can inspire you. I can give you tools. I can give you advice. I can give you guidance. But
Yeah.
I can't change you. The transformation comes from you.
Right.
The transformation comes from me. You have to do the work. So all I'm saying is that when it comes to um, that, if you can use your this kind of come out across really weird, but if you can use your child as leverage, and I just mean emotional leverage, if you can use them as the emotional leverage, like I don't want them to feel depressed right now. I don't want them to feel scared right now.
Yeah.
But if I feel scared and depressed and freaked out, they're going to feel that.
Yeah.
So how do I use that leverage to make myself feel? And it's really, it comes down to a choice.
Yeah.
We already know that. But so you could use that as a compelling future. I mean, you could have a compelling future in 2 hours. That's okay.
Yeah.
You could say, look, within 2 hours, I want to feel totally at peace. I don't want to feel this fear that I'm feeling right now. I don't want to feel this anxiety.
Hmm.
What? Let's reverse engineer the next 2 hours. What do I have to do to get there? And it's
Yeah.
actually, I mean, it would actually be easier that way, right? Maybe whatever a mom likes to do, and it's going to be different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Maybe go for a walk. Maybe take a bath, maybe read something uplifting, maybe listen to some music, whatever, and you start working those steps backwards, and then you go, wow, if I did all those things in the next 2 hours, I would probably feel great, right? So
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
like that.
so it's the same concept. That's why I love this model so much,
Because you can,
because you can expand it, you can shrink it, and you've really got those 4 steps. So your first step is, where am I, right? Where am I starting? And where do I want to go? The second step, which is kind of the same as the next one, so it's like, where am I? And then, what is my compelling future? Where do I want to be? And then the third step is, what is my why? What is my driving force? What is the reason? Why
mm-hmm.
do you I think this one's fairly self-explanatory, but on the surface, and that's why I go really deep with my clients, because surface level won't take you where you want to go. You have to go deep. What is the driving force? What is the motivating factor? What is the why for the moms that you help? Why do they want to reach that point? Why do they want to accomplish that goal? Why do they want? Obviously, you
It'll
can't just say,
be different for
why do you
everybody.
want your kid to be better or to be
Well,
well?
that's going to be every mom.
That's going to be every mom. So
for
that's
the first.
right. And
Yeah.
see, that's why you got to go deep, because the motivating factor, the real deep why, is going to be different for every mom.
Right.
Right. Now I'm sure they all love their children. Not saying they don't, but the deep motivating factor is going to be different for every mom. It's going to be slightly different.
Well,
Maybe for some they want freedom. Maybe
yeah.
for some they want to feel that connection. For some they want to have they want to feel like they can influence their child. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
But so that model, you can expand and contract. And then the last step of that, I call this the self-discovery process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that last step is the letter from the future.
Yeah.
And so I use this on a bigger scale, and I have people write themselves a letter from the future a year from now. That's just kind of my standard. But you can shrink that down. You could write yourself a letter from 6 hours from now. Hey, this is a letter from Liz 6 hours from now, and you did this, 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 and this, and man, you feel amazing. And I'm just, you know, I'm glad you followed through on that, because now I feel amazing 6 hours later. I mean, it sounds funny, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
And so it's a way that you can kind of expand and contract that system. So that would be the plan, right? And then the third piece that we've already actually kind of touched on quite a bit. So your first one is, have the goal, make sure that you have clarity. That's really the difference. Like you said, focused, and focused insanity.
Yeah.
That really is the difference between consistency and insanity. Is being focused, is having that clarity. And the second step is having the plan, creating the plan to actually make it happen. What are the steps do I take? And the third one is, be prepared to pivot, because things are going to come at you from different angles. And that they're all three important, but I would say this is one of the ones that really, really differentiates insanity from consistency, because insanity literally means doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency kind of means doing the same thing, but if you pivot slightly. So the big difference between them would be the there's two parts, because I think the two things are the ability to pivot, but even more importantly would be the willingness to pivot.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, 'cause it's not easy to change when
No,
you've
it's
been
not.
doing the same thing consistently, and even though it's like not really working, it's like, well, it's like that quote, you're almost there, right?
Right.
But then it's like, well, what if you're not? And then you're just going to keep doing that. It's a really, really hard place to be.
Like I said, that's kind of where the lines start to blur. But see, that right there is what's so important with this simple like the micro shifts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like, I mean, for example, like we were talking about marketing earlier. It's like, okay, that email really didn't land. I only had like 4 people open it. Let's just change it a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that was a little bit better. Oh, let's send it one. Oh no, that one didn't work.
Or yeah.
You know, I found nobody's ever gonna get, you know, massive results when it comes to an email list. That's just how it works. But you know, I actually get like fairly consistently. I get 40 to 50% open rate, which is basically unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I truly believe a lot of that is because I've tweaked and I've tweaked and I've tweaked and I've tweaked and I've changed just slight things, and I've found a way that resonates with people. And so I get like 40-50% open rate. And so but it's the small shifts. I'm not saying the pivots are like, you know what, coaching's not working, I'm going to go be a pilot instead. You know, I mean, that's a pretty big shift.
That's a big pivot.
So I'm just saying little pivots, right? So it really just comes down to having that goal, having clarity, having a plan, building a plan, and then being willing and able to shift when the time comes, because things are going to happen and you're going to have to shift. You're going to have to pivot. So, any last thoughts that you want to add to that? Pretty much dominated the conversation today.
That's okay.
But I like what you said, that consistency is just focused insanity. Right? I think we can just leave with that. Well, thanks guys for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.